This is Scott Waterman, Special Assistant to the Head Coach for University of New Mexico Men's Basketball. This is the Talking Grammar Podcast, episode 124.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Jeff Grammer with the Albuquerque Journal, and as you just heard, this is episode 124 of the Talking Grammar Podcast, sponsored by Sandia Sportsbook. First off, I want to say thank you to Sandia for sponsoring this podcast, as well as our live shows. We do live pre-game previews for men's basketball in the pit for home games. Wherever we are on the road, I do a preview show there too. Sandia Sportsbook sponsors that. They also sponsor Sean Ryder's Writer's Block podcast and our weekly show that Sean and I do. And they also sponsored all the post-game football games that we do. So Sandia Sportsbook is Albuquerque's premier destination for sports betting, world-class gaming, and unforgettable watch party energy, all backed by top-tier dining and comfort. With massive HD screens, VIP lounges, and the highest betting limits in New Mexico, it's the ultimate place to watch, cheer, and experience every game. Sandia Sportsbook, thank you again for sponsoring the Talking Grammar Podcast. As you heard, this is episode 124. Scott Waterman, one of the Lobo basketball staffers, I think his official title is Special Assistant to the Head Coach. He is spent the past 6 years as the head coach at the Art Institute, the Academy of Art Institute, or Academy of Art University, rather, in San Francisco. It was a Division II program. He actually led that program for 6 years as head coach, and they discontinued that program this past offseason. So UNM lands a former head coach as the special assistant to head coach Eric Olin. Scott's a fun guy, getting to know him, and a really good asset for the UNM Lobo basketball team. I think you're going to enjoy getting to know him a little bit in this episode. As I record this, it is January, what is today? January the 8th, and the Lobos next play on Saturday, January 10th at Air Force. They are coming off a nice road win, a really impressive road win at Colorado State. Last time they will play in Moby Arena as the two are Mountain West members. Colorado State's one of the defecting 5 schools going to the Pac-12 and starting a new league called the Pac-12. It is not the same Pac-12, but they are starting the new league, the Pac-12, and this will be the last time that these two teams meet, at least for now, in the same league, and they're longtime conference rivals. And so that was a good win for the Lobos to pick up at Moby Arena. Played really well, 80-70 win. They are 3-1. They, being the Lobos, are now 3-1 in Mountain West play, and 12-3 overall. So they're sitting pretty. Assuming they pull off a win in Clune Arena and the Cadet Fieldhouse on Saturday at Air Force, they will be at the quarter mark already of the Mountain West season, and that they could be at 4-1, and that's pretty good position right now. They are in the top 50 in the net. They're at 53 as we speak right now in the KenPom rankings, but top 50 in the net. So they're in a really good position. They are building a postseason resume, and they've been playing better and better. So we'll get more to that in the preview show on Saturday and in all the coverage on the ABQ Journal website, abqjournal.com. You can subscribe and help local journalism. abqjournal.com/subscribe is how you can help keeping podcasts like this, the live shows going, all our coverage, all our high school coverage as well. James Yotis, shout out to James, who was recently named the National Sports Media Association's New Mexico Sports Writer of the Year. I believe it's James' first time winning that, which is absurd. He is a fantastic journalist and has been for decades in Albuquerque, and long overdue award for James. So much props to James Yotis, my colleague, the preps guru of New Mexico. So Scott Waterman, he is today's guest. As I do in a lot of these shows, I try and get somebody who knows Scott better than I do. Booker Harris, he was in Scott's wedding. He is a former head coach, Division II head coach, who had Scott as his associate head coach. And then later, when Scott was the head coach at the Art University in San Francisco, he had Booker as his associate head coach. Booker is who I called and got a little scouting report on today's guest of episode 124 of the Talking Grammar Podcast, Scott Waterman. Let's check out that scouting report. Hey, Booker, thanks for joining me. This is a unique one because I'm just meeting you for the first time right now, and I know you have no idea who this guy that sent this long text asking you to do this scouting report on Scott was. So first off, very appreciative that you're doing this and giving us a little bit of information about Scott. And so thanks for doing that, man.
No, a pleasure to be on the podcast with you, man. So definitely, I'll try to be a good friend since I was in Coach Waterman's wedding, and not embarrass him too much. I don't want to be the person who's given the toaster at the wedding,
No, no,
and
no, man. We want nothing but dirt on this. Nothing but
uh,
dirt. But I will ask. First off, where are you right now? And then kind of give us just an idea of how you and Scott got to know each other. But where are you talking to us from right now?
I am currently in Santa Barbara, California, beach town out there in the Central Coast, like right hour and a half away from Los Angeles. Westmont College, NCAA Division two, and I met Scott when we both kind of got our foot in the door coaching college basketball. We met at Long Beach State, and
Okay.
we were two young guys who had just finished playing college. He had finished playing at Occidental, and I had just finished playing at University of San Francisco, Go Dons. And so we decided we wanted to get into this crazy world of college coaching.
How good were you? Were you good?
I was a great teammate. So in high school I was good, but in college I earned my keep and my respect. A, because of my grades to get all conference WCC, and then second, I was a great teammate, towel waver and high fiver.
And I imagine we're a hell of a scout team type of teammate. You could.
Actually, right, right. Tend to play a lot better when you know you're not going to get yelled at those first couple years.
I'm curious. Did you ever, if you those first couple years, like, did you ever like kind of have to be somebody else? Like when you on a scouting report, sometimes there's a player. Okay, we want you to try and be this. Like you guys were playing some star team and had some star player. Did you ever, when you weren't like one of the starting or one of the main players, did you ever have to play like some really famous player, like in a
Uh,
practice? I mean, like
Yeah, in a practice. So whether it was Santa Clara with Marlon Garnett or Brian Jones and Steve Nash, or whether it was Gonzaga with David Leisure or Matt Santangelo, it was probably like the green light to score and play free without worry. And it was pretty funny because like the guys would say like, "Oh man, if coach said he was Michael Jordan today, he probably would play like Michael Jordan." So
very cool, very cool. All right. There's one other thing I'm going to get to before we start talking about Scott, and it is that I saw your area code when you called or when we talked, and I see that you're a Bay Area guy, and you told me that you are a 49ers fan. People that watch this, some of the people that know me know I'm a big 49ers fan. I want to tell you why I'm a 49ers fan.
yeah,
You come by it honestly. You're from the Bay Area. You're from San Francisco, right?
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, I'm from Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I was probably 6, 7 years old before I realized my best friend's dad had been lying to me. I grew up in a single mom home, wasn't big into sports, but I was into sports, but I always did that with my friends. And my best friend's dad told me once watching a football game when I was 5, 6 years old, the SF stood for Santa Fe. I thought Joe Montana and Jerry Rice and Tom Rathman, all those guys, I thought they were down the road. I thought the Santa Fe 49ers were the best thing ever. And to this day, I'm still a 49ers fan because I didn't know any better once I realized they weren't actually in my town. I didn't care anymore because they were winning when I was growing up. But Jerry Rice and the Santa Fe 49ers and Joe Montana, those are
Yeah.
my guys.
Exactly. So great teams. We had Bubba Paris, Bill
Yes.
Romanowski, Brent Jones, John
I'm telling you,
Taylor.
I used
So
to, I still to this day, license plates or numbers I need to remember. If there's an 8-4, Bretton Jones is who comes to mind. I got Rathman. Like I do it by number. I
yes,
see a
Tom.
40, I see a 42, and I think Ronnie Lott. I do all that. So
Yeah.
that's my level of 49er fandom. There is all the numbers in my life that I have. Like I still associate them to old 49er players.
That's right. So same here, like Bill Walsh and the mastery that he had with the
That's
time,
right.
and George Seifert just took over, inherited a great team. So just hoping this year, as we get ready to play the Eagles coming up, like hopefully there's some magic. So we got close with Harbaugh, but now we
Yeah.
need another breakthrough. It's time to be
I was gonna say I like
champs
where
again.
we're at. I like where we're at right now. I like this weekend. I like the matchup. I like the squad. I wish we were a little healthier, but all
Yeah.
right. I digress. We could probably talk Niners for another 30 minutes, but we'll
Right.
let y'all learn a little bit now about Scott. So you and Scott, had two stops where you were actually coaching together, right? Or no, I guess you were coaching together when you first met. I was thinking when you were head coach, he was on your staff. When he was a head coach, you were on his staff. Is that right?
That is exactly right. So we had formed our first bond and relationship as two young guys at Long Beach State in early 2000s, and then I got a head coaching job at Dominican University NCAA Division II, and I was able to convince him to leave the cold winters of Hanover. Uh, to leave Dartmouth to come out to the Bay Area, and he did that, and so he was my associate head coach for a couple years, and then he wound up getting a job at Academy of Art University, and he returned the favor in a sense, like so everything I put him through, he was able to flip and kind
What
of
you did.
yeah put it back on me.
What's Scott like to work with?
Oh, phenomenal guy. He doesn't get enough credit for how funny he is. So
Okay.
he has a great sense of humor. Like when he's himself and loose, and also he's very intense. Like when it comes to being a competitor and things like that. So I've been able to watch a couple of the games of the Lobos at work, and you can tell like when it's a bad run going on. Like I
You can
still
see it.
notice like yes, like it's like but luckily like. He's not out chasing a ref now. So
Yeah.
I used to have to grab him and be like, hey, stay
You
with
were
us. So
the pullback.
he's the pull guy, yes.
All right. So the three questions I ask, and maybe that was some of that you just said might have been it. But the first question I usually ask on this scouting report: what's people that know Scott? What's one thing that they're going to learn right away when they get to know him, or everybody that knows him? What's one thing that everybody knows about Scott?
Uh, just how much he cares about people. Like he's a one of the good guys they say in the business. You know what I mean? So he cares about people. He's really good at his craft. And then also the third thing probably would be how he has like a love for basketball. Like it's everything, like with his life and his relationships and how he forms like a lot of the bonds and relationships he has with people, he's got it through basketball, whether he was playing
Sure.
AAU all the way through coaching some of his players.
All right. Second thing I ask is sort of as somebody who knows him well, and for the record, you know him really well, right? We're talking like not just former colleagues. You guys are pretty close friends.
Yeah, I was in his wedding, and then also we were roommates in grad school together. So I
Yeah, that's you got the goods. You got the goods. All right.
got the
So,
goods. Yeah.
what's one thing that the people that do know him, even the people that do know him, may not know about Scott? What's one thing that nobody really knows about Scott?
That he does a tremendous Rick Flair Woo, like
All
because he was
right.
a big time like wrestling fanatic, like even
This is good.
WrestleManias.
This
Yeah,
wrestling thing came up. He and I sat on a plane together earlier this week. They were
uh,
playing Colorado State.
yeah,
Colorado State starting point guard Brandon Recksteiner. His
yeah.
dad is Scott Steiner.
Rick,
Scott, is it
Scott,
Rick? His
Rick,
dad is Rick. His dad is Rick Steiner,
the Steiner
and
brothers. Yeah,
the Steiner brothers. And I asked Scott, I was like, "Hey, do you happen to know who the Steiner brothers are because of this?" He's like, "Yeah, I know who they are." And I found out he was a wrestling guy. So that's funny you bring up wrestling when just 2-3 days ago it kind of came up in a conversation Scott and I had. So
yeah. And you should ask him how many like Monday Night Raw and WrestleMania he's been to.
all right, nice. All right, good. I am going to ask him that. I'm gonna hit him up on the wrestling then, and tell him that we just talked about the other day. You didn't let on that you've actually been to some Raws and you've been to some WrestleManias. So there we go. I'm gonna see if I can't get him to a Ric Flair Woo. Maybe I'll have to wait till after our next big win to get it from him. But
He
I'll see if I
he
can get
will.
him.
He might lead it. He might do like a three clap and a Ric Flair. Woo! So
Nice. All right, now the third one I ask, it can go a lot of different ways. It can be serious, it can be lighthearted, it could be something you genuinely want to know. But even as somebody who knows him as well as you do, what's one question you would ask him if you were interviewing him on a podcast? What would you ask Scott?
I'd probably ask him about the different levels that he's coached at, and the thing that all the great teams that he's been a part of, they've had in common. And then also, since he's from Orange County, California, like growing up, he played basketball and also was a volleyball player. Like,
Was he? Okay.
ask him, yeah. So ask him if that didn't work out, would he be playing, still on the beach volleyball circuit, or being mentored by Karch Karai or somebody?
Awesome. Hey, I appreciate you for doing this. I am going to get Scott on, and I haven't told him that I talked to you. I don't know if you've talked to him, but
I have it,
okay,
and we talk almost just about every day. So it's the thing. So I got straight out of practice to talk to you.
good.
So he has no clue what's going. So I'll be able to keep this secret till he gets shocked.
This is good stuff, man. I think this is going to be this will be posted here pretty soon. Hey, Booker, I appreciate you for doing this, and good luck this season, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much. I appreciate you having me on, Jeff. And like I said, go Lobos. Like I said, I know Wilder and Olin and Stapes and all those guys. Since we're all West Coast guys, and either competed against each other or have one degree of separation for coaches that we played for or worked for. So it's been kind of cool to watch the
I
success.
got my new source to get the goods on all these guys. Is what it sounds like. I'm gonna start texting that number like crazy when I got to get something on Wilder or something. Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Have a good one.
All right, there you go. Little scouting report, and like I said, I could have gone off on a tangent on the San Francisco 49er talk. So I'm glad I got Booker's number, and I can start touching base with him to get all the goods and all the dirt on all these UNM Lobo coaches that he's known through the years and gotten to know through the years. So anyway, that was fun. Appreciate Booker for doing that. And now let's get right to it. Scott Waterman, the special assistant to the head coach on UNM basketball team. And here we go. My conversation with Scott Waterman. All right, Scott, what's up, man? I appreciate finally have you on. I know I had all the other guys on in the summer. You were a little bit of a late addition to the coaching staff, so I haven't had you on yet. So this is long overdue. So first of all, Scott, thank you for being on the podcast.
No, thanks for having me, Jeff. Obviously, I've followed you on Twitter for a long time, being in the college basketball world, and I'm excited to be here today. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. I want to. You have such an interesting background and how you got here and when you got here. But I want to start even before that, man. Where are you from, and what exactly got you into basketball? I think it's you got it in your DNA a little bit, don't you?
Yeah. So I'm born and raised in Southern California. And I wasn't a very good player by any means. I was an average Division III player at best growing up. I went to Occidental College. But one of the reasons I got into coaching was my dad was a teacher and a coach. And I just fell in love with the game of basketball. He coached me growing up. But then seeing the impact he had on the high school kids that he coached, and I saw like we'd be out in the community and we would see someone that he coached and they would have great memories or how he impacted their lives was a big reason why I got into this profession. And just being able to, what really intrigued me was being at the college level. I wanted to pursue it at the highest level possible that I enjoyed, and no offense to the NBA, but I just loved the passion that college basketball had, the fans, the educational component, helping mentor young men. And when I was at Occidental and about to graduate, I knew this was the path I wanted to go. I kind of felt like maybe medical school was my path, but at the end of the day, I knew that I wanted to be in coaching. So started with my dad, the influence on me, and just being able to impact the lives of young men that I get to coach every day.
Yes, the old medical school, or let's go the D2 route of coaching and the assistant route of coaching. I'm sure that lends itself to some second guessing through the years, but you're having fun doing what you're doing, I'm sure too.
Yeah, no, there's been times where I thought about it, but at the end of the day, I know I'm in the right place.
That's good. That's good. I know in getting to know you just a little bit, and we don't know each other that well, but we actually shared a flight the other day, which is probably the most we've talked to each other since you've been here, and that was just to the Colorado State game. I saw you just. I know the title is what it is, special assistant to the head coach, but you're flipping open the computer just like everybody else in scouting and stuff like that. But for those of us, myself included, what are your day-to-day tasks kind of right now in the role you're in on this UNM basketball team?
Yeah, I think with my experiences, like you kind of hinted at there, being a head coach at the Division II level, being a variety of roles at the Division I level for 12 years, being a Division II, Division III assistant, I have a breadth of experiences that I can impart my wisdom in. So, be it helping with scouting, helping with offense, helping with defense. As a Division II head coach, I spent a lot of time recruiting JC guys. That was kind of how we got our success. So that's kind of been a little different niche with, especially, Coach Olin and a lot of their staff didn't have that JC recruiting background. So I've been able to kind of jump in and help kind of get them established with some of that as well. So I'm kind of a jack of all trades, master of none in this role.
Which is, it sounds like a reporter pretty much. Like we try and know just enough about a whole lot of different subjects that maybe we can write about them or whatever to kind of turn out some sort of article, but we don't really know what the hell we're talking about half the time. So we just try and know just enough, but it sounds like I'm guessing you know a little bit more than just enough. But all right, so getting into basketball, you had it in your DNA. You're obviously loving what you're doing, and you've done it at a unique kind of progression where I think I read somewhere that you first started kind of, aside from dad being a coach as well, you started with your high school coach doing some summer leagues or summer camps, or what was that?
So when I was in college, after I graduated, and each summer I would go back and help coach the summer league teams at El Toro High School, and
Okay.
that was just kind of how I got my feet wet. Like most people, when they go home from college as a college student, they have to get your random jobs. But
Sure.
I wanted to, I had a passion for basketball and coaching, and I got to make money coaching at my old high school for the 4 summers after I graduated, and that kind of got my feet wet in the profession, learning from my varsity coach, and then also the freshman head coach who I worked with a lot had been a varsity head coach. So it's just kind of like immersion, seeing how things were. My senior, that kind of got me through. And in my senior year in college, I did what a lot of guys did. You send out 300 letters to every Division I school, and got a lot of rejection letters back, which was a great autograph collection at the time. But that was what kind of just got me started, my foot in the door, and I ended up, after graduation, finding my way to Long Beach State, where I started my coaching career.
Okay, so while in college, though, you were playing, right? You played at Octagon?
I did.
What position did you play?
I jokingly like to say the bench, but I was like a small forward.
Now I am curious the type of player you are. You certainly self-deprecated. You like the bench, all that kind of stuff, but you were good enough to play
Yeah.
at the college level. So, Scott Waterman, the coach, could he coach Scott Waterman, the player? What kind of player were you? Were you a coachable player?
I was very disciplined. I was tough. I had a great IQ. I wouldn't say I was the most athletic guy, most skilled guy, but I brought a lot of intangibles. I was a 2-time team captain. I was kind of like a coach on the floor. Like I was able to, like I jokingly say the bench, but I was able to really help our guys. Like when our head coach was coaching, I'm kind of be like a bridge sometimes as a player, to be able to help them with coverages or plays, or just push them in practice every day. And that's again another reason why I got into coaching, was just that kind of background that I had.
You don't remember points or rebounds, because there is one stat I'm about to bring up from your college playing days. But were you ever a high scorer, big rebounder, or anything like that?
Not to my knowledge.
Did you ever have take 5 charges in one game?
That I did do.
So how does one take 5 charges in one game? Like at some point, like, look, man, that's admirable, that's cool and all, but like taking a charge, man, that's about as painful as it can be, man. Like I don't know what kind of charges we're talking here, but the majority of charges you take is basically someone running into you and knocking you to the ground. So I'm curious, man, like were you just not smart enough to get out of the way by number 3, 4, and 5, or what?
No, actually, it was smart to help our team win, and like I said, like kind of just who I was as a player. It was do whatever I had to do to help our team win, and I wasn't afraid of the contact. And probably in today's game, with the way they've changed the block and charge, some of those may not have been counted today, but they definitely were at that point in time in 2001. I think that was still going. So. Yeah, that was my claim to fame.
I'm curious if somebody on the Lobo team takes a charge. Do you ever kind of pull them aside afterwards? I'm like, back in the day, there was a game once. February 23rd, 2001. It was so and so, and there I was taking charge after charge. Took 5 of those charges. Do you ever tell that story? That's kind of a unique story to try and tell. So maybe it doesn't really roll off the tongue that well. But like, I took 5 charges in the game. Have you ever told that story to a player?
I think to one of my Academy of Art teams, I think I brought it up, but I haven't brought it up here.
You haven't brought it up here yet? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, when somebody takes 2 charges in the game, maybe you can let them know that you still got a ways to go.
Yeah.
I don't know that they're. I mean, Uriah might have taken 2 in a game this year. I don't know if anybody's taken 2 in a game this
I
year,
don't
but
think
maybe
they have.
Uriah. I know Uriah's taken a couple, but maybe not in the same game.
Yeah.
So, all right. Now the Lobos have something to shoot for. At least a multiple charge taking game would be a nice start. Long Beach State, you cut your college coaching teeth there a little bit. Your progression from Long Beach State and then into the D2 ranks. How did the progression go in the coaching?
Yeah.
And Dartmouth as well, right?
Yes. So kind of a circuitous path, you could say. Started off at Long Beach State, and I literally walked into coach. He was one of the coaches that had responded to my 300 letters. Larry Reynolds. He had just got the job at Long Beach State in 2002,
Okay.
and I walked in. He had just responded, "Yes, we may have interest," and I had said I was going to go to graduate school there. Hadn't even applied or been accepted yet, but just kind of pulled that off and had to go over there one day to actually deal with some admission stuff. And I went to his office and said, I'm going to be in graduate school. I'm willing to work for free. What can I do? And he said, we have camp next week. Come work camp. I'll evaluate you. And if it goes good, we can make it happen. And I worked the 5 days of camp, and I came back on Monday, and he never kicked me out. So I did something right. And so I spent those first 2 years volunteering. Next 2 years, I became the director of basketball operations. Then my 5th year, I was promoted to full-time assistant coach. We made it. We won the Big West, went to the NCAA tournament, lost to Tennessee in the first round. Coach Reynolds' contract was expiring at that point in time, and we had a new athletic director who wanted to bring in his own guy, which ended up being Dan Monson. And I moved on. I went to Cal State Fullerton. I started off there as a director of operations my first year, and was fortunate enough to be on another NCAA tournament team that first year. We went and played Nebraska. Went to play Wisconsin in Nebraska in the NCAA tournament, which was a phenomenal experience. It was a close game coming down to the end, and they kind of pulled away. Then I spent 5 more years at Fullerton as an assistant coach, and as luck would have it, we had a new athletic director, coach with an expiring contract. We got let go again, which is the reality of college sports. So I learned that the upfront and hard way. At that point in time, kind of bounced around trying to find positions, and there was a position at Pomona-Pitzer, a Division III school in the same league as Occidental. And, being that I was a high academic kid in high school, college, thought, hey, maybe this will be a good fit. And I went there, and I was Coach Katz's associate head coach for 3 years. And again, we had success, no NCAA tournaments, but just a very different caliber of basketball. Sure. Working with high academic kids, and the commitment is a little bit different at the Division III level. For those aren't aware, you can only work with your team from like October to March. So that was something that was hard for me, just coming from the Division I ranks of being able to, just have full access to the team all the time. But when I was there, one thing I was like, the high academic side is something, I could really see myself doing. And after my 3rd year at Pomona-Pitzer, had the opportunity to go be the director of ops at Dartmouth. And it was a position that, Dartmouth Ivy League basketball back at the Division I level was hard to say no to. And now you took a kid from Southern California who'd maybe seen snow 3 times in his life on road trips at Long Beach State and Fullerton, and immersing him in Hanover, New Hampshire. And from a basketball standpoint, it was awesome. Like, worked with Dave McLaughlin. It was his first year taking over the program and just getting back. And a lot that I took from Coach McLaughlin ended up being part of my head coaching style. But after a year there, I had the opportunity. My friend Booker Harris was the head coach at Dominican University, a Division II school back in the Bay Area, Marin County, and he wanted to hire me as an associate head coach and kind of really get back into the coaching side of things versus the director of basketball operations thing. So I went back to California, worked with Booker for 2 years at Dominican, and after those 2 years, Academy of Art head coaching job opened up. And it's a Division II school in the Pac-West Conference. And it was a school that had 0 success before I got the job. They'd never won more than 12 games in a season. At that point in time, I knew it was a hard job. Because it's an art school, so lack of academic majors. B, it's located in downtown San Francisco. Buildings are literally spread throughout. The gym isn't close to, the school doesn't technically even own a gym. So we were kind of bouncing all over the place. But I was at a point in my career where I really wanted to be a head coach. And I knew that I was going to take this, if I got the job, I would take the challenge on, and I was going to turn that program around. And our first year, I got the job. First year, we won 12 games, which was people around campus thought it was the greatest thing in the world. Second year was the pandemic, which arguably may have been one of our better teams, if not our best team, but we could never get everybody on the floor. We only played 2 teams, we played 12 games against 2 teams, just to keep everybody engaged. Being in San Francisco was really hard with the COVID parameters. So that year ends. But that was probably the best thing because it really allowed me to grow as a coach and figure things out on a short time period of how to build how we could put the program together for year 3. Year 3, we won 20 games, won the conference tournament, went to the NCAA tournament. Year 4, won 22 games, went to the NCAA tournament, lost in the round of 32 after winning obviously the school's first NCAA tournament game the night before in overtime with a 10-point comeback with 5 minutes left. My 5th year, we won the conference championship outright, got upset in the conference tournament, unfortunately, which knocked us out, but had 20 wins again. And then this past year, 24-25, we lost in the conference tournament championship game, heartbreaking game. And ironically enough, Luke Hopt, who I now coach here at New Mexico, was on Point Loma's team who made one of the game-winning baskets in the game. So we have a lot of fun joking about that.
A lot of fun?
More him than me. But it's always fun to just banter back and forth because we did beat them a few times throughout his career there as well. Sure. So we have that familiarity we were able to banter back and forth with. And we thought, after the season, everything was good. I thought arguably it was going to be our best team this current year coming in. We had a lot of good returners, a great recruiting class, and I was really excited to coach this next year's team. And in April, they let us know that the athletic department was being cut due to financial reasons.
So there really was no kind of heads up or warning that might be coming?
No, not at all.
Wow.
And that was hard because I think as a coach, you finally grow into being comfortable into who you are. And I finally found that our program was growing. We beat UC Davis, a Division I program, in a real game. So there were some things and momentum going in our program, and people knew about, the program that no one had ever thought could have success. And all of a sudden it was taken from me. And when that happens, unselfishly, I had 9 returners and 4 recruits that I had to help find places for. I had 2 assistant coaches, needed to help them find jobs and kind of put them first, and kind of was going through the job process myself. And for me, there was something about it, like I had some opportunities, but professionally it would have been going backwards. And I wasn't at the point in my career where I was just going to settle. I wanted something that could challenge me, make me better, because I want to be a head coach again. And like in April, for those who aren't familiar, the coaching cycle, especially for head coaches, is kind of past.
Yeah, that's just about it's over. It's over by April. Like,
there was a few things that popped late, but they weren't the right fit for me and what I wanted. And it was very evident in their interest in me and my interest in them that it probably wouldn't have been a good fit even if I had been hired. And I had a lot of familiarity with Coach Olin's staff. And one thing that I was looking for was like, how can I go somewhere, impact the program, while also learning and growing myself. And I'd known Coach Olin since he moved out to San Diego in 2004, his first year at UC San Diego. Bill Carr, who had been an assistant at Long Beach State, was Eric's coach at college and had been an assistant at Long Beach, got the UC San Diego job. So I got to know Eric a little bit. I wouldn't say we're good friends by any means, but I definitely have followed his career and had the utmost respect for him. Sam Stapleton went to Occidental, and ironically enough, when he was graduating 2012-13, our coach at Occidental had connected us about me helping him, just kind of giving him some advice to get into coaching. So I had a friendship with Sam. Mike Roberts, I worked with his best friend at Dartmouth. I didn't know him personally, but I knew who he was and what he was about. And ironically enough, when I was at Long Beach State, I had recruited Mike Wilder he's from Long Beach. I recruited him to Long Beach State before we got let go, and then coached against him when I was at Fullerton and at Irvine. And
did he have the best hair in the league then too?
Yeah, but I like to joke with him too. He was a much better volleyball player than he was basketball player. I used to go to his volleyball games to recruit him for basketball just to be there, because we were trying to get him to do both sports. His Long Beach State's men's volleyball program was really good. So I had a lot of connections to the people on staff, and I kind of reached out to Coach Olin and was like, hey, if I can come out there and help your guys' program, is that something that you'd be interested in? And are you able to even make that happen? And he was like, are you kidding me? That would be like a no-brainer for us.
Yeah.
So he made it happen and came out to Albuquerque. And I know, like, just kind of looking back at things, this was the right decision because I'm growing and learning. And it's just, been a phenomenal experience to be part of, something that I'd never been a part of. I'd always been Big West basketball, low major basketball, and now this is just a whole nother weight class, and you go up. You just have to, your perspective of coaching basketball changes because you're going against great coaches every night, better players, and you have to be able to manipulate your strategies to their strategies. And seeing how Coach Olin does it's been great for me because I'm hoping that this can lead back to another head coaching job.
Well, you got to put up with some media sometimes too, and some more fans in the stands that yell at you guys. And all right, so I guess the announcement officially, I think it was done before this, but the announcement officially wasn't until August, and obviously that's kind of late in the game. When coaching hires get announced. But had you had any connection to New Mexico? You talked about the people on staff you kind of knew. Anything to this region or New Mexico that you had any connection with?
Slightly. So my wife was born and raised in El Paso and went to New Mexico Highlands and was a cross-country runner there. Okay. So that was about my only connection to it. But she was familiar with the area. So for the first time, like, I helped move her back to something she's familiar with. She's been to all over California and Hanover, New Hampshire. So this one, she felt a little bit more comfortable being back in an area that she had been around in her younger years.
Well, since you guys have been out here, have you guys gone up to Las Vegas? I mean, the real Las Vegas, New Mexico, not Nevada. Have you gone to Las Vegas at all? Have you been down to El Paso at all?
She's been down to El Paso, and it's on our to-do list to get up to Las Vegas. We were trying to get up there for a cross-country meet, but so she could go see her old team. But we'll get there eventually.
All right, good. Yeah, you owe her. If she was a kind of coach's wife at the bouncing around California at all, like you owe her at least one trip up to Las Vegas, New Mexico. All right.
Yeah.
All right. That's quite the journey. I want to go back to grad school in Long Beach when you were a roommate with somebody that you mentioned, and there's something I do on this podcast where I do a scouting report, and
Okay.
I get a hold of somebody who knows that show's guest, and Booker Harris joined me earlier today for a scouting report that I told him would be 5 minutes, and we talked for about 15, mostly about the 49ers, since I'm a 49ers fan, and he is as well. But Booker helped me out and taught me a few things about you.
This could be interesting.
Yeah. Oh, buckle up. Booker first of all, Booker was the head coach at Dominican, right? And he was the friend you mentioned him, that he was the one that brought you. And then whatever happened with his situation, then you were in a position to return the favor, and he was an associate head coach of yours, right? Okay, so you two are obviously close friends. He was in your wedding, he said.
Yes.
Okay, so far so good. I ask everybody on these scouting reports when I'm able to do them, and I'm glad I was able to on this one. I ask them three things. And the first question I ask is just sort of as somebody who knows that guest, as somebody who knows Scott, like everybody who knows Scott, what's one thing they say about him? What's like one of the first things you know and you learn about Scott? So kind of what does everybody know about Scott? He said, first of all, what they learn is just how much he cares about people, how much you care about people. He said, and this is a quote, he said, "You're one of the good guys in the business." And he said, "You're really good at your craft. You're a very good coach." He said, "A lot of your relationships and a lot of the close relationships you have been built through basketball." But he just said, "You're, nothing but like a good friend kind of answers, and one of the good guys in the business." Does any of that surprise you so far? Because we're getting to the good stuff, trust me. But a lot of glowing endorsement talk from Booker, who, by the way, I caught right after practice and said he was going to keep the secret and not tell you, because I guess you guys still talk multiple times a week, if almost every day. Sometimes.
Yeah, we text back and forth, and we quite a bit, and so yeah. But that's all pretty true, and the basketball relationships are important to me. Let's put it that way. Like, there's nothing I enjoy better than talking to my former players, assistant coaches. Like, the basketball community has helped me grow immensely as a person. Like, I wasn't 22 years old when I got into this profession. I didn't imagine that I'd be able to get up in front of hundreds of people and do a public speaking engagement or do things like that. And that's all because of basketball. And I owe this game so much, from the people that I've met to the people I've impacted to places I've been able to go. So that was pretty spot on. And I'm all about helping others. Like I said, from the very beginning, I saw my parents do it, my dad especially, in his role. And that's what I'm all about. So he offered up a little bit extra credit, I guess, kind of even before he answered that question. He also said that you were, he said I should definitely talk about even before school, that you were a volleyball player. And it was interesting that you said you mentioned when you were recruiting that you remember Mike Wilder being a great volleyball player. He said you played a little bit of volleyball yourself. Did you play a little bit of volleyball? Yeah, freshman and sophomore year of high school. Were you any good? No. Okay. So I did tell him this. I said, look, I was born in New Mexico. I'm obviously here now, and I've been here most of my life. But for 3 years, I worked in Arizona at a newspaper there and did some sports. Arizona has boys high school volleyball. Mm-hmm. California obviously has it. New Mexico does not. So it was new to me, but there are a lot of people here too that are
it's at least starting to happen a little more at the club level. But the high schools here in New Mexico don't have boys volleyball, and it is something that is just a girls sport here. So I've mentioned to people who I grew up with here or that I knew here, like boys volleyball. Just mentioned something like that at the high school level, and they're like, oh, boys volleyball, like that's a girls sport, and I'm like, no, man, like. When I was in Tucson for a while, Chase Budinger was there, who's a fantastic volleyball player, obviously, and he kind of like players like him, and then some of these even high school level players made me realize like there's a lot of crossover between, in my mind, like a really elite level volleyball player and an elite level basketball player. That there's some crossover in the skill sets and the muscles and like what you're doing and all that kind of stuff. Like, do you see some similarities between those two sports?
Yeah, and this was 30 years ago now, not to date myself, but like that was one of the reasons why I got into playing it, was because of I thought it could help me become a better jumper and more agile. And in California, it's part of the beach culture. You go play beach volleyball on weekends in the summer or whatever. So there's definitely a lot of parallels between the two sports. I just wasn't like if you watch Olympic volleyball or college volleyball, like those guys are so explosive when they jump, and that's not a trait that I was God given. So I realized that I enjoyed my 2 years playing, but I wanted to put my time and focus into basketball. That's where my real passion was, and I would play volleyball on the side on the beach with some friends, but it wasn't something I ever saw myself truly getting into.
Who's the best volleyball player on the UNM coaching staff right now?
Oh, Mike Wilder, without question.
Can he still play a little bit?
I'm sure he can.
I know he's still playing basketball with the managers.
Yeah, I mean, if he could play basketball, then I'm sure he could go become a great volleyball player.
From what I'm told, he had a 2020 the other night in Fort Collins. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. He better have. By the way, he better have a 2020 if you're playing in the manager games. But all right. So the next question. So question one, that he gave me a lot of stuff, but question two is, all right, as well as you know him, people that know him fairly well may not even know this. Like, what's one thing that nobody knows about Scott Waterman? And this is where it got a little interesting. His answer was, not a lot of people know that Scott does a tremendous Rick Flair Woo. He said that your Rick Flair Woo is elite, top notch. He said you were once a wrestling fanatic. He said I should even ask you about how many times you've been to a Monday Night Raw or a WrestleMania. All those things. I was sitting there like just on Monday on that flight we were on. I was telling you, I was like, Brandon Rick Steiner for Colorado State. You know who his dad is? He's this wrestler named Rick Steiner. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Yeah, Scott Steiner. Scott Steiner.
I'm sorry. So I mixed up the Rick and the Scott because they were the Steiner brothers. So Scott was his dad.
Yeah.
So I think I told Booger that it was Rick. So anyway, I was like, we were coincidentally just talking about it. He's like, yeah, I know who that is. I said I got no indication that he was a big time wrestling fan and that he didn't like do a Ric Flair Woo when we landed or anything like that. But yeah, he says you got yourself a nice little Ric Flair Woo. I said I'm gonna have to either try and get him to do it on the podcast, and then I said, well, how about maybe instead of on the podcast, maybe I can at least give him a little bit of time, and after a big win, I can see if he'll do a Ric Flair Woo. He said you would lead the clap and Ric Flair Woo, and he said you are tremendous at it. Does that surprise you that he would share that information with me?
That's definitely not the direction I thought he was going. That's for sure. So yes, I mean, yes, I can do it and have all the catch lines down. Growing up, wrestling was a significant hobby of mine through college, on and off since college. When Raw came to Rio Rancho in November, I was dabbling with going just to go. I followed enough to know what's going on, but
sure,
ended up not going. But don't get me wrong, I thought about it. Yeah, it's just something that I grew up with. I think, to answer your question, I've been to 3 WrestleManias and several live events. I couldn't put a number on it, but enough to consider myself a fan.
I know a good friend of my former worker, or colleague of mine at the Journal, goes to WrestleMania with his son as much as he can. He's a big time wrestling fan, and yeah, I was in it probably through college, and then kind of faded off a little bit. But I used to be in wrestling back in the day too,
Yeah.
quite a bit. So was Ric Flair your favorite, or is he just brought up Ric Flair because you do the woo?
So ironically enough, Ric Flair wasn't one of my favorites growing up. I was way more WWF than WCW. I was more of a Hulk Hogan guy, and just through I think social media, like the Ric Flair memes and videos that have become like I've had a lot of time to perfect it. It always pops up on my social media. So, and I obviously knew who he was, and when he came over to WWF, around 2000 or so. So
Yeah.
I was still involved, but
I mean,
yeah,
back in 2000, he was already, an ancient wrestler at that point. So, yes, I will admit that among my favorites were guys like I was like I never really liked the big time stars, but I was I like Coco Beware maybe. Junkyard Dog was a little bit when I was real young, but and then later in college, like D-Generation X, I could do their whole thing. So yeah, I got into it for a while, but yeah, Ric Flair was never one of my favorites, but certainly entertaining and certainly a legend.
Yeah, and I think also with Ric Flair, I didn't quite grasp his angle and his character persona until I was a little too young to understand it at that point in time. And then as I grew older, it started to make a lot more sense. So,
do you have an all-time favorite?
I mean, Hulk Hogan was the reason why I got into wrestling.
Yeah.
But I think I really had the DX, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Mick Foley, those years were when I was in college, and we used to have a bunch of guys that on Monday nights would reserve the TV in our dorm lobby to watch Monday Night Raw and wouldn't miss it and kick people off the TV. So that was definitely probably the most fun era, and it was edgy enough, and you're in college, and it was kind of eye-opening to all those things. So
yeah. I agree. That was a good era. Mick Foley, by the way, on your way down to El Paso, when you finally go down there with your wife, he lives in TRC.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is it's about an hour from Las Cruces. So now I have no idea where. There's only about a couple thousand people that probably live there. So he kind of probably has some little house or cabin near Elephant Butte Lake down there. I don't know. But anyway, he lives in that area. So there you go. All right. So there you go. That was the off the wall one that he offered up with something that almost nobody knows. And now the third question I ask him, or ask all my guests on this scouting report, is, as well as you know him, what's one question you would ask him on a podcast, on an interview? And it could be something serious. It could be something lighthearted and funny. It could be something that he genuinely doesn't know and wants to ask. Well, he gave me two things that he wanted me to ask you. The first one is I kind of alluded to earlier, and I'll start with this first one, and it is about volleyball, and it is if you didn't get into coaching, or if coaching didn't work out, do you see yourself as being somebody who would have ever played on the beach tour, or ever gotten into volleyball if basketball didn't work out?
Nah, probably not. Probably would have gone to medical school, and
you kind of already answered that one with the medical school one earlier. So
I mean it was close as it was with basketball, so I couldn't imagine breaking that. So.
All right, so this the more serious question he had wanted me to ask you is you've coached, obviously we've talked about it, the journey's been a unique one, so you've coached at a lot of different levels and a lot of unique levels. You've had D3, you've been a part of a couple programs where the AD comes in and you got the whole staff got lost their jobs. You were part of a program where the whole athletic department basically gets discontinued. So you've been at a whole bunch of different levels of basketball, and his question that he wanted to ask is, what's one common thread at all of those levels with different types of players, one common thread between those teams and success? What do they all have, being even very different types of players? Obviously players you're coaching now here at UNM, a lot of them knew they were going to college, and a lot of the players you were coaching at other places maybe didn't always know they were going to go end up and play basketball in college. And I'm curious, what's the common thread of success at all levels of basketball that you've been a part of?
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in this, that it doesn't matter what you know as a coach. You can run flex, dribble drive, press, play 2-3 zone. It doesn't matter. It's all about you being able to form a relationship with your student athletes to make them be able to run through a wall for them, knowing that you're going to run through a wall for them and vice versa. And if you do that, then it doesn't matter what you do, what your philosophy is, you're going to have success. And when you can get a team of guys that's willing to buy into you as a coach because they know that you've got their back, you're going to have success. And that's one thing that I saw throughout my career. And when I became a head coach, made it a priority that I wanted all my guys to know that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they could call me, text me, show up at my house. It didn't matter. And I was going to be there for them. And when that happened, our program changed at Academy of Art when we had the right guys there. And I saw other coaches do it, and I saw other coaches not do it. And it was a learning experience throughout my career. And that's one of the things that I was going to take and put my stamp on as a head coach, that I was going to make sure my players knew. And we had some guys at Academy of Art that didn't have the most fortuitous backgrounds, that came from a bunch of variety of different things. But they knew that Scott Waterman had their back. And I was going to help them get a degree. I was going to make sure that if they wanted to play professionally or get into the world, that I was going to be there for them to help them, guide and mentor them. And that's been the biggest thing to me. And I saw it work, and I have seen some coaches who didn't do it. And there was voids in our program. And that's what I'm all about. And that's the common thread, in my opinion, to winning and having success.
Awesome. There's some good coaches in this league too. I don't know how often you're able to sort of concentrate on that enough to steal from the other coaches around the league. I know coaching is all about stealing ideas and concepts, but I don't know how much of you're able to do that when you're watching film and all that kind of stuff. And you got plenty of you guys got a great staff right now, obviously with Eric and the whole staff to steal a lot from them as well. So I know you're probably enjoying this stint in the Mountain West so far. I am a little curious. Did Mountain West surprise you at all so far? I mean, it's only been 4 actual Mountain West games, but like anything surprise you about this so far?
Well, you hit upon it, and kind of like you saw it from a distance, like never being in the league, but how good the coaching is, how they make adjustments. The level of talent's really good. Like a lot of the guys easily could be at higher levels, and with the system that we have, they may end up at higher levels with the way things are going. But it's just, again, being at the Big West and Ivy League level, I wouldn't say the fan commitment was there. And you go to, it's funny, like I call people that I know and like, we had 11,000 fans and it's not even close to sold out, and people are disappointed. Yeah, people are disappointed.
Sellout yet?
Yeah. And my friends are like laugh at that. I'm like, no, you're not. You don't understand. Like, it's a whole different game. Like we go to Boise and it's nearly sold out, and Colorado State, like again, they're disappointed because they probably only had 7 or 8. I don't know what it was actually listed at, but there's empty seats, and like it's a whole different passion. And that's what makes the game fun, is you can walk out and your home court or enemy territory, and you're going to have a group of guys, you're going to battle against another team, and just the energy that you feel. And again, I've been in a couple of NCAA tournament games where you felt that, but never night after night after night. And there really is a home court advantage component to that.
So that is something new. That's interesting. I know a lot of fans that have just been around it and gotten used to it still take it so much for granted. I still hear some people complaining about, I don't know if there were really 13,000 in there tonight. It might have only been like 10. And I'm like, even if it was only 10, like that isn't happening at a whole lot of places around the country right now. And I don't know that it's always as appreciated as it should be, because it's just not like that everywhere, man. And in the Mountain West, it is a unique place, because I think, and I had to come around to it a little bit too, but I think every league probably talks up their coaches, but I do think that there are some pretty good coaches that have come through this league through the years.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. I mean, just looking at it across the board, and the success and places that coaches in this conference have been is top notch.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you for coming on and being a part of this. I'm hoping anybody on the team who knows anything about Rick Flair Woo will start doing it to you at practice. I'm a little worried though that even though you guys have like you guys have like an old BYU team with a bunch of 23 and 24-year-olds who you guys just have a really old team, but
Yeah.
I still don't think any of them are old enough to really appreciate and know Ric Flair other than just what they've seen on social media. So I don't know if they're going to give you the woo or not, but I hope somebody starts giving you the woo when they find out that you are a Ric Flair woo aficionado. So and please do thank Booker for letting me know that.
Yeah, I'll let him know.
All right, man. Well, I will. I know you guys are already up in Colorado, and you're in for a unique one this week. I'm telling you. I think I told you on the plane. What one of my favorite places in the entire Mountain West is Clune Arena, which is located inside a bigger building called the Cadet Field House, which is right next to an ice rink and an indoor track and field. I don't even know what it's called, arena facility. I don't know what an indoor track place is called, but it's all in one big building, and it's one of the most unique settings you're going to see in basketball. So I hope you enjoy the uniqueness of the environment. That it won't. This might be more of a Big West crowd, but it's probably not going to have huge numbers, but it is a unique setting. So hope you enjoy that, and look forward to seeing you guys. I guess Saturday.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. I really appreciate you having me on.
All right, there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed that conversation with Scott Waterman, the special assistant to the head coach of Eric Olin, or head special assistant to Eric Olin, the head coach of the UNM Lobo men's basketball team. Look, Scott's an assistant coach. That's not by official title, but that is essentially what he is. He's on the coaching staff and is a great asset to this Lobo basketball team. And it's been fun getting to know him a little bit, getting to know him through this podcast, but also at practices. And as I mentioned, we were on a flight sitting next to each other just the other day, and we talked a little bit then. That was fun. So good asset. Hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. Hope you guys enjoy all our coverage in the Albuquerque Journal. And once again, I want to make sure to thank Sandia Sportsbook for sponsoring this podcast. They are sponsors of the Talking Grammar podcast, Sean Ryder's Writer's Block podcast, as well as our live shows and our weekly Albuquerque Journal Sports Live weekly show with Sean Ryder and I. So thank you very much to Sandia Sportsbook for sponsoring this and for helping bring local journalism to you guys in every form we can: video, social media, on our website, abqjournal.com. And you can also get us in print, obviously, which is, we are still a newspaper and there is still a print product. abqjournal.com/subscribe is how you can help support local journalism by subscribing to the print product, the digital product. And you can also hit subscribe and like and all that stuff to podcasts like this, whether you're watching it on the Journal's YouTube channel or listening to it wherever you download your podcasts. And once again, thank you to Scott Waterman for being today's guest. Thank you to Sandia Sportsbook. Until next time, guys, thanks for coming along.